Good evening, guys, and we're back for the 25th episode. I get so excited every week when I say that because I cannot believe how many episodes we've done so far. But we're back, and tonight's the 25th episode of Real Relevant and Right Now. I've got a super amazing guest on this show called Denise Sherwood, and we're going to be talking all about her music, her new album, her debut album actually, called This Road, and we're just going to get to know a little bit about her. So I'm super excited. So hey guys, and thank you all for joining. Hey Sarah, hey Indra, hey Victor. How is everybody this Sunday? Have you all had a good weekend? I know the weather's not been great, but Christmas is coming. And I'm definitely getting in the Christmas mood. Are you? But yeah, so as I said, we have got, hey Sana, my beautiful Bella, lovely to see you. But yeah, so as I said, we have got Denise on the show tonight, and she is literally, I'm going to join her. Let me get her in. I know, Sarah, 25 episodes. Can you imagine? It started 25 weeks ago from a little idea up here to now being on here in this little social world. So yeah, I'm super excited. Right, let me get Denise on. Cool. Very soon. And hopefully everyone can hear me. Yep, my sound's up. But how is everybody? How are you, Indra? How are you? Denise!
Hi!
Hey, my love. How are you?
Hello. I'm all right. I'm good.
Oh, you're looking
How
beautiful.
are you?
I'm well, thanks, lovely. I'm just trying to sort out
Good.
the camera.
Yeah, you look beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, such a funny space, isn't it? Being in this kind of... I've never met you in person, but I feel like I know you. It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, but it's beautiful to meet you. I feel that's what it is, a soul connection. It's magic. I love it. No, definitely. Yeah. So Denise, welcome to the show. I know this is your first live. How does it feel?
Yeah, my live virginity broken.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. If we hear my son screaming in the background, don't worry, it's not neglect. It's just he gets a bit hyper around his bath time, so his dad's taken over. So I'm happy to be here.
Oh no, yeah. Me too, Denise. Like literally, whenever I have my guests on, I love to do a 5-5. So I'm literally gonna fire 5 questions at you. You've got like a second to give me the answer. No pressure, all right?
Okay.
Drum and bass or garage?
Drum and bass.
Orange or yellow?
Orange.
Milk or honey?
Honey.
Hip hop or grime?
Grime.
Love or money?
Love.
Yes.
If I thought I was like actually yellow, but orange is just in my soul today. It's orange. So yeah, we'll go with that.
Oh, I'm loving it, Denise. So for anybody that doesn't know you, anyone that's tuned in, just give us a little introduction about you, your music, who you are, what you do.
I assume lots of people don't know me, but maybe we've met in a random place. But yeah, wow. So what do I do? Well, my day job is as a therapist. So I support exclusively people in the music and creative industries because I grew up in the music industry and recognize a great need for specialist services because I recognize that musicians and creatives are really struggling, and you know, the immense importance of art in our lives means that we need to take care of our artists. So I studied psychotherapy and I trained, I worked with young people for a long time, and then I crossed over working with adults. So I specialize in working with musicians. That's my day job, but I've always sung since I was a little girl, and I had, you know, everybody kind of around me thought that was what I was going to do when I was a teenager, but other things happened which steered my life a completely different direction. So I've only just released an album at 35, 36 in January.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, and I've been making it for 17 years because I didn't have the confidence, or I don't know, I just didn't put it out there. So it's great that it's out there now, and it means a lot to me. It's difficult releasing an album now because I can't do a live gig. So
I know. I was going to
Yeah.
ask you, like, I literally was going to say to you, when are you next performing? And I literally thought to myself, you probably have
Who
no
knows?
idea.
No.
No, not at all.
Uh, we had, so I made this album with my father
Yes.
because my dad is a dub kind of roots producer. And yeah, we're very good friends. You know, he's my father, but we're good mates. And we started making the project a long time ago, and we had a couple of gigs
Yeah.
lined up at Electric Ballroom and Jazz Cafe, which was really exciting, but they got, you know,
Cancelled.
didn't come through. So
Yeah.
hopefully next year we can do some, you know.
Fingers
Yeah,
crossed, because I don't know
thanks,
about
babe.
you, but
Yeah,
I've just been feeling I want to sing. I've not been able to, but I also just want to be immersed in that energy, Denise. You know how you can pull so much inspiration by just going to a
yeah,
few open mics or go. It's been so hard. And you know, like music for me is such a mood lifter. If I'm feeling sad, I'll play music, whether it's sad, happy, whatever genre. And it's kind of
yeah.
like we can't even go and get that. And these lives, they are great and we can do Zooms, but it's just not the same at all, is it?
No, because we're not in the same room together, and having, you know, eye contact physically and being able to smell people, and there's a sense that happens in the room that
Yeah.
just can't happen on a screen. You know, I've been working exclusively with clients on the screen, and that it is effective. But I think especially performing and singing and talking, you know, whatever art form it is where you're using your voice,
Yeah.
which is such an emotive, vulnerable thing, because playing is very vulnerable, but there is the instrument and then you. And when you're singing, you are the instrument, you know,
100%.
and everything you're feeling, which is probably what excites you too. There's this possibility to share it with people.
Yeah.
And right now we can't do that. And it's really hard for a lot of people, and a scary time, you know. So I took it for granted as a mum. I haven't been to many gigs for a while. But you know, I loved raving when I was younger. I loved going to gigs, and I miss that physical human vibe, that
Same.
connection, that buzz, that raw energy that literally, I think as a Londoner as well, it is, and in any place where music is, but I think for me as a Londoner, it's very integral to what grew me as a person. And I think I really realized that, reflecting on realizing what it's like without a live music scene and not being able to go to dances or whatever. It's something we could have never imagined,
I
because it's
know,
been
and
such a part of our lives.
completely. And I think that is what was so scary about this whole situation and lockdown and COVID. None of us thought this would be like, if I'd had a conversation with you a year ago and been like, guess what?
Yeah,
I bet we're not gonna be able to sing. Everyone would have been like, no, this is never gonna happen. But here we are, you know,
here we
and
are, and
yeah,
we've got to
here we
embrace
are.
it.
We have to
Yeah,
move with it. And I feel that, I don't know, when everything does lift, I have this feeling like we are never gonna go back to normal. Do you know what I mean? I feel like we're all going to have to now embrace like a whole new energy of life, which is quite scary, but at the same time it could also be quite beautiful. Do you know what I mean?
totally. It's exciting because it's confronting us with the stuff that isn't right too,
Yeah.
which is always very challenging,
100%.
because you have to look at it and feel it and see it and redesign a new way around it or through it. And what scares me is the kind of the technology. I don't want the machines to take over the human beings, you know.
Same.
And as a mother and as a human, as a woman, as a person, human, same thing. But you know, it's like that scares me. But at the same time, like you said, I've really enjoyed the possibility of this time. You know, the breaking down of what isn't right, the time to reevaluate what's really important. So yeah, I think it's positive overall. I'd like to think.
No, and I think I'm with you on that, because I am such a believer there is no light without dark. And I feel like
No.
the universe has forced us into a situation where actually we've literally had to go inwards, face some of
Yeah.
our demons, get really uncomfortable, but these are all the pains of growth, you know. So for
Yeah.
me, I do feel like we are all going to be these beautiful flowers on the other side. We're just literally grinding through at the moment, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, I feel like the tunnel is the illusion, but there is light. We are going to get through. So yes,
There's always
positive,
light.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, Denise, growing up for you, you were obviously immersed in, I've read like lots of bits and bobs, I've read your interviews and stuff. You grew up in such a creative and musical environment. Your dad is Denise Sherwood, like, so he was a music producer. And I believe that your house was actually a studio for you when you were growing up, right?
Yeah.
How was that for you, like growing up with so many kind of musical legends and having your dad, who's this like amazing guy on the dub scene? Like, how was that for you growing up?
Normal. That's a funny thing.
This is the beauty of lives.
Yeah, there you are.
There we are.
I saw it.
Same. I was like, oh. She's back.
Yeah, we're here. We can keep an eye on it in the connection. As we need to do when we're in the presence too, but in a different way. It was normal. You know, that's the mad thing. It wasn't normal when I started going to like other people's houses, you know, when I was a kid, and I was like, this is really normal. Where I live isn't. And, you know, having a dinner where it was quiet and, you know, because when in the house, there was always so many people that we'd share food with, and people from all around the world. It's very diverse. You know, my dad's a white man, but loves black music, and the majority of the people around me most of the time were Rasta, Jamaica, you know, West Indian. And my dad made some money and moved me to a predominantly white middle class area, and to give me a good education, which was great. But I think that's where I started to feel really different. And what's very interesting is you know, my mother's Japanese and my dad's English, but I definitely felt I identified more with people that weren't white, which is very strange, because I think I was and I realized that as I grew up on reflection, and I felt very different. And I used to think, oh, was it because of my upbringing? Because yes, there was a studio and it was always packed full of people, and my upbringing was maybe less than, it was different. It was alternative. There was a lot of parties, there was a lot of freedom. And yeah, if I'm honest, and it's not that you know, my father's white, my grand's white, I married a white man, my son's, it's not white, black, other, but it's naming, I think, which is really important right now, the confusion in being mixed too, and feeling that you identify with cultures or races or people that necessarily don't look like. And yet I feel that I felt such a strong connection in my spirit that it's taken me so long to understand. So that was going on. And just feeling different, and like I didn't fit in, and like I wanted to be at home, but also as I got older, it you know, it was quite complicated in different ways too. And yeah, I don't know if that's too much of I mean, I feel like now it was linked to many things that at the time I didn't see. And basically what it comes down to is fitting in and being honored and respected for this, you know, who you are and what you feel you belong to, but then the complexities that comes with cultural identity, and where people will say one belongs and one doesn't. So my mother's just walking in to pick up something. She's trying to be very quiet.
Hey, Mumsy.
Yeah. She's just coming in to get her bag. But yeah, so she was there for it.
Of course.
An amazing lady, but she's not going to come and film. She's not. All right, Mum. So yeah, so that's kind of it.
she had a little peek.
Yeah. She's got a nice coat. But yeah, so what I'm saying is it was so diverse in my house. That is the blessing. It was so normal for me to be around people, and it was from all around the world, musicians from everywhere that brought who they were culturally, spiritually, individually, into the space. We had a huge house, and there was just so much spirit and music and soul and truth and rawness and struggle and pain, and people that were addicted, that were so beautiful, but they didn't know where to put their love in the world. And all of this, as a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I didn't know. But I felt it, and I absorbed it, and that's the greatest education I had. And then getting to school, it was like I didn't know how to place that. I didn't know how to fit in, so I partied and did whatever, and it got a bit confusing, and I'm ranting a bit, but then I got very anxious, and that led to another phase in my life. But growing up was incredible. It was really hard at times because of what I saw that was painful in people. And artists, you know, famously struggle because of how much they feel, I think, and I now research it and look into it from a professional perspective. But it takes a lot to give your life to art and to creating and to being honest, and it isn't considered enough how much that takes. And I saw it firsthand. I saw it over and over again. So as much as it was glamorous and it was beautiful, it was really hard at times, and I can feel a lot, and always have been able to. So I think it was really special, and I feel very lucky. I'm very fortunate.
No, I can imagine, and I feel like that. I suppose it's with anything in life, it's balance. We always have good with the bad, and like you say, you know, I don't know, just I had a very, very different childhood, but one thing that I can relate to is growing up from a very young age. I was a mess. I don't know whether it was just the area I lived in, but there were so many different ethnicities around me, so many different religions, so many people, you know, just being themselves, that it was my transition in life. I suppose when I was a lot younger, I felt very, I suppose, comfortable with being me. It wasn't until I got older, like, and went to secondary school, that I felt that I didn't really fit in, because I was then moved to a predominantly white area, and it was very difficult. It was more of like, nobody on the outside would have known, but it was that internal struggle, that internal conflicts. Do you know what I mean? With your heart and your mind and your heart. You don't know where to go, left or right. And for me, music was my savior. Now, I know you said that everybody kind of expected you to sing because of what. Do you feel that you didn't go down that music route because it was kind of a pressure of everybody on you, or do you feel like you just wanted to keep it to yourself? Like, what was your process within your artistry for it to come to light?
I think partly because I was surrounded by such amazing singers, you know, famous and non-famous and incredible in different ways. Whenever I sang, one part of me was like, I can't, you know, compared to this, you know, there was comparison going on. And then the first experiences I had, I toured with Blur, who were kind of like massive when we were younger, and my dad.
I know, which must be amazing.
It was really cool, and also I was on a sound system, and I think whenever I'd seen other ladies sort of representing on a sound system, they were really tough and had a lot of attitude. And as much as I am confident and I can project an air of real confidence, I'm also quiet. And what I love music-wise wasn't dancehall, wasn't reggae, wasn't what I was growing up in, wasn't dub. I loved raving to drum and bass, and I loved two-step garage, you know, dubstep, grime, hip-hop, but it wasn't me. And what I think is like that kind of finding your voice. I didn't know where I fitted, and it's an identity thing when you're younger. You're trying to fit in, like you said, at secondary school. You think you're cool or whatever, you know, and you're hanging out with certain people. And when I wanted to go and sing in my soul, it was very gentle and very more kind of folky, and so I didn't know how to actually set it up, and I didn't know how to connect with. And I'm still learning what was my true voice and feel comfortable. And plus, my parents split up when I was very young, and so when I moved, got my head's getting closer and closer to the screen, taking up the whole screen.
Come to me.
Um,
Come to me.
yeah, I grew up with loads of men, which was not a bad thing, but I ended up living with my dad and loads of guys, and I definitely felt there was something very feminine and very vulnerable and fragile that I had learned to protect by having a persona of being tough and handling myself and drinking and doing whatever, you know, more than a guy.
Yeah.
And actually inside, when I wanted to sing or write, it was very delicate.
Yeah.
And I would be scared to bring it. And I would sometimes bring it and say, this is what I've written, or this is what I want to sing. And the people around would be like, that's not you. And I was like, well, actually, I think it might be me, but I don't know how to make this work. And that's been really painful. And I didn't want to sound like a kind of self-obsessed artist, like, oh, no, I've just got to find my voice and just get, so I just stepped away from it. It made me feel a bit sick.
It was like too much. Yeah.
Too much, yeah. So
and it's funny
I
you
stepped
say
away.
that, because I feel that sometimes, especially in the industry, there can be a lot of outside opinions, and it's not that people aren't meaning the best for you, but they can see you as something and they think that this is right for you. But I think with anybody's artistry, it is your own journey, and it's very difficult to follow that journey when you've got so many people kind of saying, well, I think you should be doing this, or I think you should be doing that, well, I think you should be doing this, you know. And I feel like I can relate with what you're saying here in that essence. And I feel like, I don't know, did you feel like it was almost way too much, that it was just like, I can't, like, this is actually almost like you're losing the love for your first love. Do you know what I mean? Because it was too much, you couldn't just be.
Totally. And your voice, like you said, your first love, I think the more I reflect on what the voice is, it is you.
Yes.
You know, you don't, the greatest singers they're not even going up there and performing. They're going up there and sharing a part of themselves with you.
Yeah.
And, you know, you feel it when somebody speaks from their heart, as you do when somebody sings from their heart. And then your artistry isn't just a question of what you do, it's who you are being accepted or not.
Yeah.
And we all are searching for that.
Yeah. No, I get that. And I think they're the pressures of when you put yourself out there and you bare your soul, because that's effectively what you're doing. You're basically saying, hey, I am so open right now. I'm putting all my vulnerability out there and wearing my heart on my sleeve. That I don't think people give artists enough credit for that, because many people in this world don't even want to open up and talk about their problems, let alone express them to someone that, you know, this is how I felt then, or maybe by me giving you this, it might help you in this way. I always view my artistry as like giving and receiving. Like, I'm giving you this gift, you know, we are special beings, we've been given this gift that we can sing. Not everyone can sing. I do believe everybody has a gift, but you know, it's about when you've been given that gift to sing and you can express yourself, it's a huge pressure, because you're just one single human being about to step up on stage or step into that studio and express your truth, you know. And I think it's such an empowering and such a courageous thing to do. And that's why I loved your story when you said this was like a project. Your album, This Road, was like a piece of work that you've been working on for 17 years, Denise. Like, that's amazing, because I just think the most, I don't know, for me, the most beneficial thing you must have got from that is the transformation you've made within yourself.
Yeah, and now the kind of the funny thing is because it was so immersed with my dad, which I'm really thankful for. Yeah. Because he's a great artist. He's a really interesting person and a fantastic artist. But we're father and daughter, right? So that album was a complete battle of, you know, I remember there were some songs that were quite sensual or about, you know, there's a lot of love songs in there. Yeah. And I'd go in the booth and he'd be you know, in the other room waiting for it to come through. And I could feel if I was going to sing too sexily or a bit, you know, sultry, or both of us getting a bit uncomfortable, because you couldn't take away from the fact I'm his little girl, and I'm singing
no, of
about
course.
falling in love and pain and
Yeah.
sensuality and discovering myself. So it was very limiting. And the album, this road, it feels like parts of me trying to break through that come through, and then I'll just stay here, it's cool here, let's do a bit of reggae, okay, let's just not bring that verse in, and then wait, I've got to sing that, and then you know, and he's all for female empowerment and was like, you bring whatever you need to bring. But at times, because he's in his lane and he's a producer and very used to having things his, you know, him being in the lead, the album, I'm looking forward to releasing other stuff. And I've got, you know, so much other stuff too, that this album is very important, and the sound is amazing. He's got such an incredible sound and it's so unique. But it was hard to get reach during this time as well. I really wanted to reach more women, a younger audience, because a lot of his fan base, you know, would flock to it. But, you know, he's in his 60s now. It's like, it was a different time.
Yeah, of course.
And, you know, selfishly, we all want to express something, and for it to be important to somebody and for it to be felt.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, everyone's an artist. Everyone. Some of the like words. Some people can't sing technically, but they can write, or they could sing something like punk. You know, completely out of freaking tune.
Yeah.
But very powerful and political and changes shit. Yeah. So everybody is an artist. Being a human being is difficult. You know, however privileged, whatever we're talking about, white, black, whatever, it's challenging in different ways. And we are artists if we choose to be, to you know, alchemize that stuff and make it magic.
No, 100%.
And we all need to hear each other in that way and meet each other, but we're scared. So I really hope this album meets the people it's supposed to. You know, I haven't got a big following or whatever. It's sold well on vinyl, kind of, but it doesn't matter, because what I realized is, and I'm hearing my baby crying, but he's all right, is
bless him.
is you know, we've just got to grab the moment and honor it as best as we can, and all we have is our truth. And getting lost in what somebody else wants or needs isn't going to serve us. So that's what this album's about, and I'm going to carry on releasing stuff for fun when I do my day job and I'm a mum. And hopefully it moves somebody, or it helps somebody, or whatever.
No, 100%. I love that. No, completely. And just going back to what you said, obviously your album is produced by you and your dad. Your dad, I know there's other people that are featured on the album, but it's primarily a project that you and your dad worked on. And you said, you know, you guys did come up against, I suppose, a few obstacles that you had to overcome. But would you say, Denise, that your dad is like your #1 fan? Because I know we've spoken a bit about our dads, because I know that my dad, because he is like, my dad thinks he is like the music connoisseur, and anytime I introduce him to new music, he loves it. And I had to message you because he is such an OG, and he listened throughout when he told me he was listening to it working out. He wrote down all those comments. He said, can you pass them on to Denise?
I'm honoured. I'm honoured. And it's handwritten notes. He broke it down, each track that he liked, you know, in detail. And he was very honest. He said, I really like the lyrics here, you know, and he wasn't overly complimentary, which I really appreciate, you know.
That is my dad's. That is true.
You've got a good papa.
100%. But he absolutely loves the album. But would you say your dad is your #1 fan?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, he totally is in support. He's great. He's brilliant. Yeah.
No, I do really love that. And I feel that, like, I don't know about you, but with my dad, because I am his little girl, and because he wants me to do so well on my heartstring, he's so proud of me. He can sometimes be very, very critical. And I have to be like, I love you. I love you. I appreciate it. But we'll talk again tomorrow.
Yeah, totally. I have to take breaks from my dad as well, because it's just when you're really close, it's also very intense. And sometimes it's like battling for control or some power, or to have that moment where you're being heard. You know, that's relationship anyway. But with our fathers, it's such a mad journey, isn't it? Because they created us and then they watch us create ourselves in their image.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, well, and what I say is how we kept saying throughout the years, he'd say, you've got to release this for, you know, I can't, for God's sake. And I'd say, oh, I can't, Dad, it's not right, it's not ready. He's like, oh, and he still says he spent hundreds of hours paying for sessions and I was never happy. And it got released. So now we hold it, you know, and it's like we're physically holding this project,
Yeah.
you know. And he said, when you hold your own vinyl, you know, he's got many,
yeah,
but he's like, well, holding yours, that will be a special day. So getting to this point,
it's
that's
amazing.
enough for me. The rest is a bonus.
That. I love that. And
Yeah.
I was literally just about to ask you, Denise, like, what would you say is your greatest achievement to date thus far?
I don't mean to be cliched, and I'm a feminist, but my son.
100%.
Yeah.
And how old is your little boy?
2 and 3 months.
Oh, bless
I never
heart.
thought I'd be a mum, you know. So it's it's my heart. It's why I released the album. It's why I released the album.
Really?
Because I thought, you know what, anything that's left over in the closet that you're not confronting and you're pretending you're big potatoes, no. Do all the things that scare you, Denise, because of him. So
I love that.
Yeah. And it's the birthing of anything, though, because I know many women that can't have children and women that chosen not to. Yeah. And it was something I didn't choose. It happened. I didn't think I could, and I wasn't ready, really. But, well, I didn't think I was. You know, I was training to be a therapist, whatever. So I'm not going to, and he came along. And what I'm saying is, it's not him, but I mean, he is beautiful.
Yeah.
He's so beautiful. But it is the process of faith and trust and growing something like you would a project and birthing it, seeing it come to fruition and endorsing it and backing it and loving it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without allowing yourself to come in and fuck it up because of your insecurities. So I was saying, actually, this means more than us. This is bigger than everything.
Yeah.
Now I'm a part of the world because it's not about me and my ego and my fear anymore. It's about something else. So he is the manifestation of that for me, but that can come in many forms. It doesn't need to be a baby, you know?
Yeah.
And I think there's so much pressure on women to have children, and if you don't feel it as well, pressure that you should be feeling, because I never had that burning desire to be a mum.
Yeah.
Never. In fact, I was quite the opposite. I was like, nah. Really? So I think, having him, the process of committing and dedicating myself, sleep deprivation, and being forced to believe in myself, because if I don't believe in me, quite simply, ain't gonna work for him. 100%. Anyone. He'll do his thing, but I gotta love me, and it's not gonna work for my album if I don't believe in the essence of my spirit that's all over that. It's not gonna happen in my work if I don't believe I'm good and I can hold space for people. So the journey is self-love. So my biggest achievement actually then would be in different language, learning to love myself, and it's ongoing.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm I always say, I think it's an Akua Naru song. She says self-love is the very first romance. And I think it's so true. If we do not love ourselves to the maximum, how can we then shine our light or help or love anything in our exterior? Do you know what I mean? We have to have that self-love. And I think that again is something that this lockdown, I don't know about you, but it's definitely taught me. You know, there's been times where I know we've all had really down days, especially in the very beginning. It was a lot, and it's all been this roller coaster, and I've been pushing through. I think it brought to light that I thought I completely loved myself, but I do, but there's so much more loving you can give to oneself. You know?
It goes on and on and on.
It's continuous. And I just think that when you're in that space, what a beautiful revolution to kind of live in, and to know that, you know, in my mind, I'm going to continue to love myself until the day that I die. You know, it doesn't stop. It's growth. It's something that we have to do every single day. And I think that again is another positive out of this really shitty negative that we've been living in at the moment. But
because we've been forced in with ourselves.
Yeah, completely.
And we can avoid it. but there's nowhere else you're going to exist or be. You are here.
Yeah.
And it sounds kind of, it's yeah, it's very important. And I think, I don't mean that the greatest achievement is that, oh, I've loved myself, done. It's that I've
No,
chosen,
yeah.
I've chosen to love
Yeah.
myself and see
100%.
it
And
every
and
day.
it's not easy. That's what
No.
many people think, oh yeah, love you. That is one of the toughest things you'll probably ever do in your lifetime, is love yourself, especially when we've grown up with different like, you know, outside kind of influences, you know, family members thinking this, or when you have to walk that road alone and say, no, I'm doing this for me, this is the choice I've made. It's bloody tough. It is tough, you know. And I also feel as well, especially in regards to kind of the current situation and lockdown in life, I do feel, and I'm such a believer, that sometimes the universe makes us so uncomfortable we have no choice but to change. And I feel that that is the essence of like the energy that we're living in right now, you know. And it's for us all to evolve and grow. And I pray that everybody learns to love themselves more, but you know, it's each person's journey, isn't it? But it's a beautiful journey. So anybody out there, love yourself more.
Love yourself.
Love yourself, literally. Oh, I love it. But Dee, you have been on such a journey. You have literally, I feel like you're a sponge. You've absorbed so much, and I feel like you've seen so much and you've grown so much. What do you feel that you know now that you didn't know back then? Maybe when you were a child and you were growing up in the music industry, like from now becoming a mum to where you are in this present moment. What do you know now that you didn't know back then?
I mean, what do I know now that I didn't know back then? I mean, there's so many moments back then, you know, that, but I guess if I can answer it with just sort of an instinct, is that it is to do with self-love. It really is, that I'm safe, that people are complicated, but it doesn't mean that that things are dangerous. You know, I think something arose, and like you said, as a sponge, maybe that is the case, that sort of absorbing of so much feeling that I didn't know if I could cope with it and if life was a bit too much. But what I now know is I can create boundaries. I can say no. I can choose what I carry in my body, in my vehicle, in my mind. I can love people and say no. And that I'm powerful, and that I claim that, and I have no guilt around that. And that, you know, it's also really nice just to laugh loads and keep it really light and chill and enjoy myself. I've got a right to be here and to enjoy the moment and to enjoy healthy relationship. And if something doesn't serve me, I can let it go.
No, I love that. And it's funny because last week we spoke a lot about the emotion and the feeling of joy, and how I just think that we all need to have so much more fun, and we all need to laugh more, because it's such a great vibration to live on and be on and to have in our lives on a daily, to just help us be happy and to love ourselves and to love what we do. And, you know, I think it's super important. And I feel that sometimes as human beings, we really forget to have fun, because we don't always have to spend money to have fun. You know, some people think, oh, I've not got, you can literally just call your mate and have a great, you know, conversation, share some stories, whatever it may be, how big or how small. But I do really feel that we need to inject more fun into our life, more joy into our lives.
And play. Like that's another thing that's very cool about a baby and a kid.
I can imagine.
The amount of stuff that you get to do again. And you're going, oh, it's because of them. Actually, you're well happy to watch Shrek and like make Christmas cards. You know, I am. So it's play, and it's very true. Just joy and laughter, like laughing like an absolute nutter to the point where you're crying and you peed yourself a bit. Is very good. You know, I was speaking to my brother about it yesterday, and it's not common. You know, to have those moments where you are so out of control laughing is so good.
Yeah,
It's so
completely.
good. It's so good. And there's a time when you're a teenager where you've got to be a bit cool. And also now, in the age of information, where I'm seeing my younger siblings and, you know, people that are much younger than me, it's very normal for them to just have so much information.
Yeah,
It stops your joy because you're overthinking everything. So
yeah,
analysis paralysis, you know, it's like too much. And so joy is great and laughing is great. And I remember I went to see the Dalai Lama, right, when I was 20. I
wow.
saw him speak in Manchester, and we and we I was with a friend, and we were sitting, everyone was like very still waiting for him to come on, and he came out in front of like thousands of people in this massive arena. I must have been 27.
Yeah.
And he had a funny little tennis cap on, you know, like a kind of like for the sun, you know, when the sun was
Yes.
really bright. So it was like a kind of pink sun screen hat. And then he came out into the middle of the stage, and he was cracking so many jokes. Like, as much as he was getting asked very serious questions, you know, about having to leave Tibet and his people being, you know, brutally tortured,
Yeah.
basically. The way he responded was so amazing, because you'd be sitting there and some of the questions were heavy, really
Mm.
heavy. And I'll never forget sitting there and thinking, oh, wow, how is he going to answer that? And obviously he wasn't answering, he wasn't laughing, but there was a lightness. It was like a mastery of lightness, like a kind of like he had lived the answer.
Yeah.
And you knew the pain was there, because he's had to leave you know, he's not in his home, and he's away from, and he's aware of the torture that his people have endured.
Mm.
But he would acknowledge the question, and then he would say something really beautiful, you know, very Buddhist and very kind of hopeful and positive. And whenever he could, he would crack jokes, yeah, and this funny little hat. And I just thought that was, I mean, I'm not religious. My Japanese family are Buddhist, but I really, that really stuck with me. And the qualities and people that have really touched me, it's like they have an amazing balance between, like you said, dark and light, or like intelligence and awareness, and also remembering to freaking laugh and keep things as light as possible. Not denial,
Yeah.
not pretending, not shutting you down if you need something to say.
100%.
Quite the opposite. Being
Yeah.
able to really be there, but really laugh and create boundaries, and also be wild. Like
Yeah.
there's a few people in my life I'm like, wow, I want to be like you know?
Yeah. No, I do. I
Yeah.
love that. And Denise, going back to the album, this road, this amazing album that I've been banging all weekend, like I feel
What?
like I've been on a musical journey with you, but I feel like it's also taken me a journey within myself. You know,
Oh, amazing.
yeah, I feel like
That's the dream.
yeah, I actually do. And one of my favorite songs on the album actually is Let Me In. Is it Let Me In? Yeah. And I just feel that it's like beautifully haunting. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it just brought, I can't explain it. I went in me, and I felt that by listening to that song, it was almost, I know you were singing it, but it's almost like I was singing it to myself in the mirror, you know, talking to me. I felt like it was a real song of like, I don't know if that was your intention or your concept behind it, but that's what it was for me. And I absolutely love the album. And I know you probably aren't going to be able to choose one, but what would be your favorite song off the album?
Probably Let Me In does stand out, because it's funny you say about the mirror, because before we made a couple of music videos, and you know, our budget, we did very well within our budget, but my mate was like, I've had this vision, and he was like, you see you pulling up in a car, you're going through this house, and it's like you're banging at the door. This is what it was originally, and it's going to make sense in a minute. and you're banging at the door, and so the viewer, you know, the person watching it thinks there's someone behind the door. Like you've had an argument, you're like, let me in, to open the door, and they're not opening the door. And you know, and you're worrying about them, so you can see the tension in me, and I'm like, open the door, I'm begging you, open the door. And then eventually the door opens and there's no one in the room. And then you see me looking around the room. I go through 2 other rooms, so it's kind of like rooms in your mind, and I face a mirror. And you suddenly realize the whole time you were just trying to get into yourself. And the lyric that really stands out for me is, you know, you hurt yourself because you can't bear the love you feel. And that it's
that
about
was
addiction.
like power.
Yeah.
To the point that it almost made me get emotional listening to you sing that. Do you know what I mean? That was deep. That resonated with me a lot.
Yeah. And that means a lot to me, because as much as it you know, when I wrote it, I was thinking about a couple of people in my life who are very much struggling with addiction, and the most beautiful souls, but I was watching them hurt themselves, and I could see it, too many drinks in or whatever they were taking, where their spirit would turn. And I could see, and I've been there myself in different ways, but I was thinking about other people, and I wrote that line. I was thinking about myself and them, but anytime I've hurt myself in relationship choice, taking it too far with whatever, it was because I had all this love, or this need to be loved, and I felt alone, and like I couldn't get it be met. Probably not the right sentence, but I couldn't find a way for it to be met. And my heart, and I just wanted to hurt it, because I stopped loving, stop needing people, stop fucking feeling so much, just stop it.
Yeah.
So it means a lot, because I wrote it very quickly, it came out very fast. So I'd say that probably does stand out. Yeah. And it's really beautiful that that it means something to you. That's the 100%. Dream. If a few people feel that, wicked, done.
Yeah, no, I think it's such an amazing album, D, and that literally is one of my favorite songs. I mean, I love Sunny Days as well. I also love Won't Bow Down, and I think my dad loved that too, because he wrote down the lyric, I am a queen, a very rare kind. Like, my dad was
he did. He said that specifically. I'm a queen, a very rare kind.
Yes, big up Anthony. Literally, my dad, he is your number
big
one.
Big up Anthony. Yes, thank you.
And so I know we're literally, like I said, it's been nearly 50 minutes. So with the interview's nearly done. I know this has been so amazing. But for anybody, let them know, Denise, where can they find your album? What can they do to get it? It's on vinyl, it's on CD.
Thank you. Yeah, so it is called This Road, and it's available on my Bandcamp page, Denise Sherwood, my Insta page, my Bandcamp, Denise Sherwood Music, Denise Sherwood Artist, and I'm on Spotify, so you can stream the album and enjoy it that way. But it is selling on vinyl, which does sound particularly tough, actually. It's very beautiful on vinyl, because my dad's an analog sound designer, really, so it really smashed it. It sounds amazing on vinyl.
Unreal.
And CD, you can get on CD, old school. And I've got a YouTube channel where I've made a few videos to promote a few tracks on there. Yeah, and it's an honest story, and hopefully it moves people in some way, and I've got more to come. So thank you so much for having me, babe. Really cool to link up with you. And
I know, 100%, and hopefully we will be able to in real life, and I can give you
and I give you a massive hug.
Massive cuddle.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait.
No, defo. And Denise, before you go, what does the future look like for Denise Sherwood? What do we expect to see from you?
Well, I definitely want to keep making music and sharing music as a hobby. I carry on doing what I do as a therapist in the music industry, because it feels like my soul calling. And as does singing, being a mother, being a friend, being a self-loving, decent, conscious, up for it human being, you know, that's what matters, and whatever comes is a bonus. So
100%. I love that.
staying alive.
Yes.
Staying alive, baby.
I love that. Staying alive. And Dee, before you go, have you got any words of wisdom for any of the viewers tonight? I don't know, just for the days ahead. Christmas is coming. Any words of wisdom from the beautiful soul that is?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so important to. Christmas can be a really difficult time for people, you know. It's a beautiful time, but for a lot of people, it's really challenging, and it can be really miserable. And especially now during these weird, you know, times.
Yeah.
So my advice is definitely, and I'll say this not as a professional, but as a human being, to stay connected. And everybody has different ways of connecting. We don't all need to be socializing, hugging people, being the life and soul. It might be very quiet and private and reading or listening to music, but stay connected to what makes you feel a sense of being alive and a sense of being in wonderment and faith and in love. Something that makes you feel warm and a part of everything in whichever way that is for you. Find more ways, do the things that you already know, and reach out, you know, and if you need help, ask for it. There's amazing support services as a professional. There really are, that offer free services. The musician, Help Musicians UK are incredible. BAPAM are incredible. Mind, more generally, the Samaritans. There are so many places to go for support and end the stigma. You know, we all have mental health as we do physical health. Let's take care of it and each other.
100%. Yes, I love that. And let's love more.
Yes,
You're
that's
amazing.
it. Yeah,
Denise,
you are. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Real Relevant, and right now, the 25th episode. This is the beautiful Denise Sherwood. Denise, thank you so much, my lovely. It was a wicked interview, and I can't wait to see you soon in real life.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you in real life. Take
Definitely.
care.
Lots of love.
Lots of love.
Ciao.
Bye.